Hey, my beautiful bitches, it's me, Fiona St. James, and welcome to another episode of Fiona's Coffee Talks. And as always, I like to start off every day with a fresh, hot, black cup of coffee. Hold the cream! I'd love to. And of course, I think of my favorite quote of the century by Oscar Wilde, which says, "Life is too important to be taken seriously, so lighten up, folks." So today's topic is, drumroll please, Life of an Actor Part 3. Okay, so Part two, I spoke about the first gig that I had, which was To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. Then, I finished filming that. 2 days later, went to Europe for a month. And when I came back, which was right around Labor Day week, and a couple of days later, I competed for Miss Long Island 1994, and I won Best Professional. Yay. So I was like, oh, good, I'm on a roll. And then what happened immediately after that? I landed Stonewall. So this Stonewall we filmed in 1994. It's fictionalized from the book Stonewall, which was written by Martin Duberman. The screenplay was written by Rikki Beadle Blair, directed by Nigel Finch. And we shot this in the fall of 1994. And that was the same year that was Stonewall 25, and it was Gay Games 4 was happening. So New York City was wow, it was really quite incredible, everything that was going on. So I lucked out because I ended up working on it quite a bit. It was like a full month of work, and it was all of these night shoots. I lucked out that I ended up getting the poster. So this was the poster all over Australia and Europe. It was done by the BBC as well as Arena New York. So this picture that you're looking at, this I remember it was the first night that we were shooting. It was a night shoot. So I got there at 4:30 in the afternoon. We filmed till 6 in the morning. And this is early on in the movie where we're all playing prostitutes. And if you notice, I have a cigarette in my hand, and I'm not a cigarette smoker, but of course, they were like, "Oh, could you smoke a cigarette?" I was like, "Yeah, girl, I could smoke anything, really." So I said, "Yeah, give me a cigarette." Not realizing that for continuity purposes, I had to smoke all night. So we filmed till about 5 in the morning. I smoked an entire pack of cigarettes that night, which as a non-smoker was a lot for me. I remember I was living on the Upper West Side, and I got home at 6 in the morning and threw up for 15 minutes because I was like, ugh. But it was such a wonderful experience. Now, Nigel Finch, who directed it, he was really quite wonderful also because we had a really good connection. And so any and every chance that he could get to feature me, he did. So, I mean, beginning with this, and then, so throughout the movie, even though I was technically a non-speaking part, a lot of us really got good camera time, but I in particular, there was one instance also where when we were filming the riot scene, picture this, 1989, there was a movie, Last Exit to Brooklyn, which was directed by Uli Adele, starring Jennifer Jason Leigh, Stephen Lang, Stephen Baldwin, bunch of bitches. And Jennifer Jason Leigh played this hooker, Tralala. And she had the same Marilyn look. And that movie was based in 1952 in the Last Exit of Brooklyn, which back then was not such a great spot, bunch of unsavory characters. So there's a scene in that movie where a riot is happening, and she's there marching with the cops on the horses and the marching cops, and she's walking in front of them. So Nigel comes up to me. He's like, "Fiona, we're gonna pay homage to Tralala in Last Exit to Brooklyn." So that was a really wonderful moment as well. And I remember we filmed it in one take, and it's a great moment for me. So I was fortunate that I guess he and the first EP liked what they saw, and who don't love a blonde, right? So anytime you're doing any kind of Marilyn-ish look, she's such an epic and iconic person that how could you not want to feature that? So knock on wood. So there were a lot of great moments like that. So fast forward, we finished filming it, and there was the cast party. I went to the cast party, and I went dressed in the same outfit that you see in the poster, and in drag. And of course, Nigel was there, and there was always a little something there. We flirted a lot. So at the party, we were making out, and people were looking at me like, "Fiona, you whore." And I'm like, ah. I mean, we had already finished filming, so I thought it was okay. What I didn't realize, and because they kept it under wraps, unfortunately, that was 1994, and the AIDS epidemic was still in existence and was at its height. And although protease inhibitors had come out, people were still passing away, and not everyone responds well to it. So all along when we were filming, there were moments. He unfortunately was positive, and my understanding was like there were moments where we would finish filming and then he'd like go running to the hospital. So, but we exchanged numbers. So after the party, he went back to uh, London, and I happened to call like around Christmas time just to say hi. And someone who I guess was with him or taking care of him answered the phone, and she was like, "Oh, he can't come to the phone." I was like, well, when can he? I figured he was busy or whatever. And she was like, "No, I don't think you understand." But and then I understood, and I was like, "Oh my God!" It's a bit traumatizing for me. And I just said to her, please send him my love. Fiona says hi, and I love him, and all that good stuff. And he did subsequently pass away shortly thereafter. So then fast forward, then that summer, the following summer, 1995, the Lesbian and Gay Film Festival at the Public Theater on Lafayette, it was premiering there. Stonewall was premiering there. So of course I'm like, I'm gonna wear the same outfit. So wait, let me backtrack a minute. It first came out in Australia because it was also like Dendy, which is this big production house there, had something to do with it. So Rikki Beadle Blair, who wrote the screenplay, again based on the book by Martin Duberman, he happened to be there at the premiere. And uh, when it hit Australia, apparently this poster was all over the place. I didn't even know, but these two friends that I have, Ian and Gary, hey guys, they sent me this envelope, like an 11 by 14 envelope, and I opened it, and there was this sheet, and I look at the pictures, and there's all these pictures of like different scenes from the movie Stonewall. And I remember thinking, well, shit, where am I? And when I turned it over, that's what I saw. And then they wrote me a note, and they were like, the poster size of you was plastered all over Australia. So I was like, oh shit. And that was like the first night of shooting. They just took a still shot, and I guess they decided this is what we want the movie poster to be. So Rikki Beadle Blair that night, fast forward to June, he said to me, he comes up to me, he was like, oh my God, Fiona, I love you. And he was like, can we sit together? And I was like, yeah, of course. He identified himself, and it was my honor, really. And he said to me, he said, I need you to know that like in Australia at that time, no one like kind of really knew what Stonewall was. And he was like, but that picture of you, because it was plastered everywhere, apparently it was a huge hit just by people looking at that picture. So then what was really cute was we're sitting there watching it, and then anytime like he would know that like a good moment for me was going to come up, he was like, girl, get ready. And then I'd be like, ah. So it was kind of neat, like sitting there with him and experiencing that with him, you know. So that was only my second experience. I went from like To Wong Foo to like going to Europe to like winning Miss Long Island to doing this. And so it was really kind of great. Even the DVD, you could see a bunch of us, Sherry Vine, David Drumgold, hey girls, Coco Lachine, like we were all in it. And we had all just finished working on To Wong Foo. So it was just kind of neat that suddenly in New York City, it was that. The other thing that happened, because when we were filming, it was 1994, and it was like the 25th anniversary and all of that good stuff. Like there was all this media there. So like the New York Native, the Advocate, the New York Post. And then suddenly like all of the articles that they wrote, they included a picture of me. And I'm like, I'm just technically an extra, but you know, again, I think it was because of the look that I had, and maybe I project something that they like. So, anyway, that's my Stonewall story. I know that it was then redone, like not too long ago, maybe 5, 6 years ago. There was a remake of it. I think the original is better. Just saying. But you decide for yourselves. Anyway, so that is my Stonewall story. I am so fortunate that I was able to work on it, because to me, it was like such an iconic and epic movie. I don't know how well it did in the States, but I know like all over Europe and Australia it did great. And Who knew? Oh, and then footnote. So that was 1995 that it came out. In 1997, I then went to Europe. I'm sorry, I then went to Australia for a month. And when I was in Sydney, I went to the Dendy Productions, which was the Australian end of this. And I walked in there and I introduced myself, and they were like, oh my God. So they actually gave me a stack of posters. And then for years to follow, anytime I would like do a show somewhere, or like my Fiona's prison party samans, I would like bring a post. And then I was like autographing them and I gave them away. I'm down to none, but it was kind of neat. Like they took pictures with me and they had the stack of it. And it was, so that was quite incredible for me as well. And that would have been like 1997. Just a little footnote. All right, guys. So leave your comments. Don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe if you have not. Again, let's keep the dialogue going. Tell me your experiences. This was my second. So far I was like, ooh, I'm on a roll. Because the first was great. This was even as great. And I was union for this. This is my first gig as a union member. So, all right, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and till the next time, keep on being you and don't forget to take care of your mental health. All right. Love you.